A challenge that I faced as a teenager was battling through depression during my secondary school life because during this time I cried out to my parents, but I wasn't taken seriously. Mental health was not a priority for Nigerian parents at this time, and my cries for help was seen as me exaggerating my problems or thoughts. And this intensified when I was a senior in high school. And to make this even more serious, I actually was applying and auditioning to schools during this time, and thankfully I was able to get into all my schools. But this was a very hard battle finally being heard because I had battled this for about 4 years on my own, and finally after like 5 years I was heard by my family, which I'm extremely grateful for.
A challenge I faced in life would be like peer pressure and trying to compete with my friends. Like this just made me like laid back, lazy, unserious in school. And obviously this led to like my grades started to decline. Like I wasn't doing as well in school. This then hindered my opportunity to school in the UK, as my school said I should retake one of the exams I failed in order to get into the school. I just sat with my mom, was prayerful about it, and like this just made me realize that like in the real world, you shouldn't just care about what your friends do. You should like do what you're meant to do instead of saying, oh yeah, my friends are doing this, so let me do this as well. So eventually my school let me in, and like without retaking the exam, and like through the help of my mom and God, this just helped me realize the challenges I faced, and this incident helped me overcome it.
One of the challenges I faced as being a youth was when my sisters went abroad and I was going through things and I had no one to talk to, and the way I overcame it was by actually trusting my parents and talking to the close friends that I knew were going through the same thing, and they actually helped. So
one of the biggest challenges I faced as a teenager is trying to prove myself to adults, especially Nigerian adults, that I'm worthy of something I'm doing, because most times they look at age as like, oh, like he's not like a certain age, so he can't know this, he can't know that. But that's not necessarily the case. Like teenagers could be smarter than adults, they could know more than an adult, but like I feel like the society like I grew up in, like most times people always feel the need to like bring up age as like something like, oh, like you're young, like you can't know this, you can't know that. But like that's not the truth. So like one of the battles I faced is like trying to prove myself to adults that like, no, like even if I'm young, like I've worked hard to like know certain things and be able to like get certain talents and stuff. So like that's one of the biggest things, like trying to like just prove that age doesn't mean anything.
Being the relatively active teen that I was usually conflicted with having to balance my social and sporting activities with the academic side of being a senior at school. More often than not, I went for the more fun option of being outside or being with my friends, as any teen would. Even though I was thriving on the sports field and doing well outside, I saw that my grades were starting to get affected. Leading up to my final exams, this was a challenge for me because me, myself, and everyone around me had high expectations of me to deliver. To cut the long story short, I did eventually deliver, thankfully. And I did this by incorporating a daily planner into my life. This planner helped me arrange my days, weeks, even months more appropriately by scheduling time to do different things and do everything at the right time. Although it is important to note that the most challenging part of having a planner and being committed is the dedication it requires and the amount of commitment it requires one to put into doing exactly what they had predetermined for themselves initially. I myself found this as the most challenging part, but as I went through it and I did it and I tried my best and I learned and I got over it, I did see myself getting better grades over time and having top grades at the end of my exams. And I also saw myself being a better performer at my sports because I was more regimented in my trainings and I was more exercised and I could exercise better and I used to plan better. And basically the planner just made me see things from a different perspective, and it just allowed me to just be more calculated with my time and be more calculated with the moves I'm making. So I definitely would advise it, and I would definitely say this is one way that I faced a challenge for myself and I was able to overcome it.